Those shocking allegations about Princess Diana's death. Authorities now reviewing the new and sensational claim that she was actually murdered by the British government. ABC's chief legal affairs anchor here with more on that, Dan Abrams. And Dan, talk about a conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah. Look, this may be the most thoroughly investigated car crash ever. But when you're talking about the death of Princess Diana, it seems some will never accept the official finding. After all, attributing her death to negligence, mistakes, bad behavior isn't nearly as tantalizing as a claim of murder.
It seemed like a terrible accident and was officially ruled just that, an accident, caused by, among other things, the gross negligence of driver Henri Paul. But now Scotland Yard is looking into a new claim that Princess Diana and her boyfriend Dodi Fayed were actually murdered by British Special Forces 16 years ago this month.
Whenever you bring in stories about Special Forces personnel, then immediately you've got the prospect of a red-hot story.
The allegation came in the form of a letter during a court-martial of Sergeant Danny Nightingale, a British Special Air Service sniper convicted of illegal gun possession. The letter alleged that a fellow Special Ops soldier told his wife their unit orchestrated the princess's death and cover-up.
They had a team of people over there on motorbikes, designing, planning the whole operation, waiting with cars, etc. So the car would be driven down at speed, driven by motorbikes to get them at high speed, driven into the tunnel, and the strobe light then would be used to disorientate Henri Paul, so he'd lose control of the car.
A new book said to be published next week by author Alan Power also claims the British government had Diana killed because they saw her as a threat.
The security services and the monarchy, the establishment realized there's a big danger looming.
Power alleges the princess was pregnant and planning on marrying Fayed and possibly preparing to leak embarrassing information about the prince. The problem? In 2008, after 6 months of reviewing every piece of evidence during a formal inquest into Diana's death, no evidence was found that she was pregnant or engaged or, of course, murdered.
There was no conspiracy to murder any occupants of that car.
Buckingham Palace has not commented on the allegations, and Scotland Yard is choosing its words carefully, saying that this is not a reinvestigation, but that they are just scoping the new allegation.
Now, let's be clear. This accusatory letter came from the estranged parents of the wife of a former intelligence operative. Talk about hearsay upon hearsay upon hearsay. But when it comes out just as a new book, saying the same thing emerges, Scotland Yard has to at least look into it, and it's just too good for us not to discuss.
I guess, but can you imagine the kind of conspiracy this would have had to be?
And the number of
all of this
people
off?
who would have had to be involved and to have not said anything for all this time is absurd.
But what does Scotland Yard really do? As you say, they're not calling it an investigation. They're saying they're just going to look at the scope of all this. What do they do?
Well, publicly and privately, they're doing two different things. Publicly, they have to say, look, we are going to examine this. They're being very careful about what they say. Privately, I'm sure that they are rolling their eyes and saying, another one of these.
We got at some point they say we looked at it.
Yeah,
and that's
we got to deal with this, but at least they can say that this was looked into without using the word reinvestigating.